You know, wood finishing is part art, part science, and perhaps most importantly, good technique. So here are more than a dozen useful tips to give you pro-like results. When hand sanding, cut sheets of sandpaper into quarters and fold each quarter sheet into thirds. Always sand with the grain to avoid scratches that may only become apparent after stain is applied. To make use of the entire piece, refold it, exposing a fresh surface. Use a tack cloth to remove dust from the surface before applying stains and finishes. Stains may be intermixed to create custom shades, especially when it's necessary to match an existing color. Always stir finishes before applying them. Never shake them. Shaking can introduce air bubbles that may leave pockmarks in the surface. When loading a brush, avoid dragging it over the edge, which tends to pull out most of the finish. Instead, slap the brush gently on the sides of the container. Apply finishes using long, straight strokes, moving in the direction of the grain. To reduce brush marks, use the very tips of the bristles and move in one long, continuous stroke from one end of the workpiece to the other, a technique called tipping off. For a satin smooth feel on tabletops and chairs, apply paste wax with a pad of very fine 4/0 steel wool, always moving in the direction of the grain. Wait a few minutes, then buff with a soft cloth. A shoe brush works well on carved or turned surfaces. To clean water-based paint and finishes from brushes, add a 1/4 cup of fabric softener to a bucket of water. Wash the brush thoroughly, comb the bristles, rinse and dry. Then store the brush by wrapping it in a sheet of glossy paper torn from a magazine. Touch up nicks and scratches using a marker made to match wood colors. Gel stains are easier to control and blend, especially on vertical surfaces. They can be applied with either brush or cloth, then wiped off to leave the desired depth of color. To add contrast and an aged appearance to carvings and other details, apply a gel stain to the surface. Then remove the excess using a dry brush technique. Wipe the brush frequently on a soft, absorbent cloth. The stain will remain in the details and recesses. To change the color of an existing polyurethane finish or to deepen the color of a previously stained surface, try a poly-stain combination product. Before and after. For a hand-rubbed look, especially on older pieces of furniture, consider a wipe-on finish. These are easy to apply and produce a warm, soft luster. Make a simple drying tent to protect polyurethanes, varnishes, and other slower drying materials from dust particles that can fall onto the surface when it's wet or tacky. Well, there you go. Some great ways to go pro when it comes to finishing.